Welcome to Kadampa podcasts. These podcasts offer practical solutions to daily challenges and help guide us to a happier and more peaceful state of mind. In each episode, you will find an extract from a teaching given by one of various Kadampa Buddhist teachers worldwide. All these teachings are inspired by the profound wisdom of Venerable Geshe Khalsang Gyatso Rinpoche, a Buddhist master for our time. We hope you enjoy listening.
This particular series and talk is called Know the Mind, Heal Your Life. And the point is, if you are able to know your mind in depth, you will be able to heal your life. So we might say, well, heal your life of what? Because you might think, yeah, my life needs healing. I need to get rid of my boss, or I need to get rid of my mortgage, or I need to get rid of this or that. Can you do that for me? No. I mean, maybe. No. That's not what this is not about changing the external conditions of your life, although that may be a natural outcome of changing the internal conditions of your life. So my teacher, Venerable Geshe Khalsang Gyatso, he once gave this fantastic way of understanding the distinction between what we call an outer problem and an inner problem. So many of you have heard this before, which is that if your car breaks down, that's actually the car's problem. Now, normally we say, of course, that's my problem. My car's broken down. I've got a problem. But in truth, that's the car's problem. The car has a problem. If you're unhappy about the car breaking down, that's your problem. Does that make sense? The car has a problem. It's broken down. It needs fixing. And you've got a problem. You're unhappy about it. If you weren't unhappy about it, you wouldn't have a problem. Like, I don't know, mowing the lawn or something like that. That's a terrible example in New York, but watering the plants, I don't know. For some people, that's going to be a problem. Oh, I've got to water the plants. Whereas for other people, that's a joy. Is watering the plants a problem or a joy? What does it depend on? Your mind, your approach, your understanding of it, your perception of it. Same with the car. Some people might be really happy going to the mechanic. I don't know anybody like that. But in other words, if you are able to not get caught up in your unhappiness and just see this as something that needs to get done, you don't have a problem. You need to do something. You need to take the car and get it fixed. It's not like we're saying, oh, don't do that. No, of course, you still need to get it fixed. But you're fixing the car's problem. You're not fixing your problem. You've already fixed your problem if you're peaceful and you're happy. So when we're talking about healing your life, we're really talking about being happy. Within this life, things are going to go wrong. Within this life, one of the main things that's going to go wrong, so to speak, in terms of what we would like to have happen, is your body. I don't know if you've noticed. Your body falls to pieces. We're all sitting in front of each other, falling to pieces. Those of you who've known me for a long time have seen me fall to pieces, step by step. And I've seen you. Is that a problem? Well, again, depends on what? Depends on your mind. For some people, it's an acute suffering. We're also going to get sick from time to time. Is that a problem? It depends on your mind. We're all going to die. God, we went here fast, didn't we? Sorry. I was going to save that for a little later on in the talk, but yeah, all of us. Is that a problem? For many people, yeah, that's a source of great fear, source of terror. Some people are seeking it out, thinking that it's some kind of solution. But the point we're making here is that if you actually know your mind in depth, at a profound level, well, there's a sense in which you will understand the secret to life. Yeah, I think we can actually say that. You'll understand the secret to life. You'll understand the secret that will allow you to experience inner peace and happiness, and therefore freedom from problems all the time. Because where do problems exist? Now again, we think, oh yeah, externally, like the car breaks down, or my relationship is a problem, or the boss is a problem, but that all depends, as we've already shown with the car, upon your perspective, right? It all depends upon your mind. Like having to lift heavy weights could be seen as a problem, unless you've intentionally gone to the gym and you're seeing it as like a challenge or an opportunity. Depends on the mind. Problems exist in the mind. And as Geshe Kelsang explains in this book, How to Transform Your Life, which if you're interested in, those of you who are new, if you're interested in what's being said here and want to kind of delve a bit further, this is a fantastic book to start with, and you can actually download it for free online, How to Transform Your Life. Or you can purchase it in the bookstore if you want a hard copy. But right at the beginning in the second chapter, he writes as follows. By the way, I'm going to talk for a little bit, and then we're going to have a guided meditation on the nature of the mind. So the second chapter is called How to Develop and Maintain a Peaceful Mind. We can develop and maintain a peaceful mind by transforming our mind from negative states into positive states through engaging in the pure spiritual practices that are presented in this book. Through this, we can transform our life from a miserable state into a state of pure and everlasting happiness. That's quite a big statement. Transform our life from a miserable state into a state of pure and everlasting happiness. Now, we might think, wait a moment, that's a little heavy about miserable state. I don't think I'm quite there. Well, sometimes we have been. And maybe relative to a pure and everlasting happiness, it is pretty miserable. But then we think pure and everlasting happiness, that's the language of a fairy tale. Surely you don't mean pure and everlasting happiness. But we do. Why? Because the approach here, the Buddhist approach, based on Buddhist teachings, is to look at life from the perspective, from the vantage point of the mind. That's actually quite different from how we normally look at life in our society. We understand life from the perspective of the mind, and that makes all the difference, as we'll see. Happiness and suffering, I'm reading again, happiness and suffering are parts of the mind. The former is a joyful feeling, and the latter an unpleasant feeling. Since happiness and suffering are parts of the mind, if we want to avoid suffering and find true happiness, we need to understand the nature and functions of the mind. I always found this very intriguing when I first heard it. Like, happiness and suffering are parts of the mind. Happiness is a joyful feeling. Happiness is a feeling, isn't it? It's a feeling. It's a feeling in the mind. Now, you might say, no, it's a feeling in the body. Well, that feeling in the body is perceived by the mind. There's tactile feelings, but actually that's a tactile consciousness. If your body did not if your body, we can say, was not associated with consciousness, with mind, there would be no feeling. For example, a dead body has no feeling. If you get a dead body a massage, that's not going to do much. So happiness is a joyful feeling. Happiness is in the mind. And suffering is in the mind, because suffering is also an unpleasant feeling. So you might say, well, yeah, but it's also in the body. If I stamp on your toe, you experience an unpleasant feeling. Again, tactile consciousness, but it's a consciousness. So that's pretty deep right there. You know, Buddha, he pointed out, what is our main wish? What is everybody's main wish? Not even just humans, animals, even insects. What is everybody's, across the board, what's everyone's main wish? To be happy. Flip side of that is to be free from suffering. So everybody's trying to get away from suffering towards happiness. Everybody wants to experience happiness. Would you agree with that? Like, there's literally no point when in your life where you ever think, I need more suffering. I've just been too happy for too long. I want some suffering. And you might say, well, actually, I know some people who seek out suffering. Yeah, but that's because they think it's going to make them happy. Everybody wants to be happy all the time. And it actually follows, therefore, that everyone is actually looking for lasting happiness. Does that make sense? If you're looking for happiness all the time, it follows you're actually looking for lasting happiness. Now, interestingly enough, we seek out this lasting happiness via very short-term happiness hits. It's kind of clear that ice cream cannot supply you with lasting happiness. I suspect most of us have done this experiment. In fact, many of us are still engaged in this experiment because we're not quite convinced. But we know, right, that the best ice cream can do is give us like a short-term kind of pleasant taste sensation and a little bit of a sugar rush or something like that, that actually is not, in the sense, authentic happiness. It's not lasting happiness. It's not peaceful happiness. I'm not trying to get you off ice cream, by the way, but we're just trying to understand, like, what is it we're actually looking for? We're looking for lasting happiness, but the only way we're going about it is through seeking out, essentially, kind of short-term happinesses, whether it be like enjoying a nice food or watching a movie or hanging out with a friend. And maybe we think, no, I'm looking for a long-term happiness in terms like maybe have a family and so on. Okay, sometimes family will give you some happiness. And let's be honest. Sometimes it won't. In fact, maybe some of our greatest joys are associated with relationships and family, but also some of our most intense pains are associated with relationships and family. It's not a constant. And it's not a constant for a very, from one point of view, a profound reason. Another point of view, a simple reason, which is that happiness is an internal feeling. It's a pleasant feeling in the mind. Because of that, as Geshe Kelsang points out, the main cause of happiness is not going to be coming from outside. The main cause of happiness must be coming from inside. Because it's a mind. Happiness is a mind. So there must be a mental cause. Like, for example, I don't know, I'm giving a talk. Maybe for some of you, you're experiencing happiness listening to the talk. Maybe for others, suffering. In other words, the talk itself cannot be the cause, the main cause. It's a condition. It's a condition. There are certain people you see them, and they make you happy. And there are certain people you see them, and they make you unhappy. And you might think that person, the one who makes you unhappy, is a cause of unhappiness. In which case, when they were walking down the street, people would be just like stepping away from them, left, right, and center. That person is an intrinsic cause of unhappiness. And for some reason, I work with them. But they're not an intrinsic cause of unhappiness, are they? Because not everybody steps away. Some people step towards this person. Some people love this person, unfathomable as it is to us. What does that indicate? Depends on your mind. In fact, everything depends on your mind. Literally everything in your life depends on your mind. Whether you're happy, whether you're sad, whether your life you feel you have purpose or not, everything depends on your mind. Just being alive means, in Buddhism we say, a sentient being. A living being is synonymous with a sentient being. A sentient being is someone who has a mind. If you have a mind, functioning mind, you're alive. It is really the basis. It's the basis of everything. Your entire experience is based on your consciousness, your mind. In fact, and we delve into this quite a lot, your mind is creating your life right now. Your mind is creating your life all the time. Would you agree with that? Now you might think, wait a moment, no, there's all these other people that are creating my life. My parents created my life, and then all these other influencers, your favorite TikTok influencer. But that all depends on your mind. In fact, your mind is creating me. True or false? One honest person. Shaking her head. But when I say you're creating me, I mean you're creating your version of me. Because I'm sitting up here, and you might think, well, there's just one person, but maybe, however many people there are in the room, as well as folks online and stuff like that, each one of you is looking at your own version of me. Would you agree with that? You're all looking at your own version of me. You're all hearing your own version of this particular talk. Like often we do what we call a turn and talk here at the center, at the end of a talk, of a teaching. Then people turn and talk to one another. And I think often you'll probably have this experience of like, oh, I don't think we were at the same talk. Because you'll be focusing on certain things that resonate with you, and other people will be focusing on other things that resonate with them. So who is creating? Of course, I'm a condition. I'm part of it. I'm not saying I'm completely innocent here. I'm a condition. But it's your mind that's creating your experience of this talk, positive or negative or neutral. Your mind that's creating your experience of me, positive or negative or neutral. Your mind that's creating your experience of this room. Your mind is creating your New York. Yeah. I'm in a New York state of mind. Yeah. This goes deep because basically, Buddha was once asked. He was once asked, could you please summarize all your teachings? Buddha taught for over 50 years, and he taught super extensively. Sometimes we say 84,000 teachings, like super extensively, on all manner of topics, in great, great depth and profundity. And so he was asked, can you please summarize? And so he summarized in the following way. He said, cease to do negative actions, meaning hurtful, harmful actions. Engage, learn to do positive actions, beneficial actions, good-hearted actions, kind-hearted actions. Control the mind.
If you feel inspired by this podcast, then dive deeper into timeless wisdom of modern Kadampa Buddhism by following the link in the episode description. We look forward to reconnecting with you in the next episode of Kadampa Podcasts.